Do you think the truth of 9/11 will ever officially come out like other things have?
I don't know. The truth about John Kennedy didn't come out, or so.
Exactly.
I wanted to get you to talk about Kennedy. Give us your view on that.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened at 9/11. I do know that a lot of investigations went on Kennedy that were stifled, just like what you're doing now. They tried to hold that back, and we know he was killed. We don't know who done it. The other argument of 9/11, we know those buildings fell. Now, a lot of people would think it was done this way. We think it was blown up intentionally. So we're never going to be able to convince everybody, and we're never going to really know for sure.
No.
And Willie's exactly right, because the simple way they get to that is by the removal of all evidence.
All evidence is gone.
Like when John Kennedy was assassinated, the first thing Lyndon Johnson did was he sent the limousine was where a homicide took place. There should have been the yellow tape around that limo. That limo shouldn't have been touched till investigators went through it with a fine-tooth comb. Instead, LBJ orders it sent to Cincinnati. It's cleaned and refurbished. Not one person got to look at the actual crime scene, which is backwards to what normally is done. That's what causes, for me, the light to go on, because when they start doing a crime scene the exact opposite of the way it's supposed to be done, that tells you that there's ulterior forces involved here. Now you shift to 9/11. In 9/11, the high priority was removal of everything. It was not investigating it.
That's right.
There were people, the priority went to the removal. The investigators were considered secondary. Well, that's the exact
Well, they kept them
opposite.
out.
Well, that's the exact opposite of the way it should be. Hold off, Alex.
Black boxes.
That's the exact opposite of the way it should be. The investigation should always take priority, and even if they use the excuse, well, we were searching for bodies, there could have been alive people in there, which you can accept, it still doesn't relieve them. They could have removed that metal and put it somewhere to where later it could have been looked at.
And that's what we all assumed they were doing.
They were doing, but it turned out they weren't doing that.
No.
They were destroying it all. They were building a new ship out of it as a monument. They were selling it to China and melting it down and doing everything. And so it's come down to today, and Willie's exactly correct. We will never know, because here's the reason. Now we're all experts.
That's right. And
Because with no evidence, with no concrete scientific evidence to go to, all of our opinions are valid, whether they be for or against, because there's no
But
way
isn't
to
the
the
same
convince
cover-
thing
anyone.
happened at the Pentagon.
Yeah.
The very same thing happened. They came in, they cleaned up everything, they took all the video cameras away, and they dared anybody to say anything.
Yeah, and so now there's no way to prove or disprove
Well,
anything.
Willie, isn't that right there historically, especially in a criminal investigation? A cover-up is generally seen as an evidence of guilt, or that there should be a massive investigation. Can you speak to that?
Well, I think that's true. Anytime you cover up evidence or take evidence away, you have an agenda there. You're trying to stop people from knowing what happened. And I really do believe that's what happened.